We're live. So I think the topic for today is actually kind of about what we were talking about. That we want to rest a bit. So I would let you share about the topic.
Yeah, so I think stress is one of those things that it kind of creeps up on us, and we've kind of got to manage it all the time because it's not something that, I don't know, it's like it's a build up, and then suddenly we realize we're very stressed because we lash out or I don't know, we just start behaving in waves that are very short and irritable. So I thought it could be quite interesting. So, how to reduce your stress levels. So the
I
first
would
one
love to hear.
is, what do you focus on? So the idea of this is what you focus on is the area of the brain that becomes fixated in that area. So if you think about it, like if you are driving to a certain place, you're so focused on driving to that place, you possibly aren't seeing all the other things that are going on around you. And it's kind of the same thing when you're caught up in your own headspace about being angry, whatever you're feeling, you're kind of missing everything else. And that area just gets so heightened.
Yeah, it happened for all of us. And you know what? I also take it, but not only in your brain, we can feel it in your body. So when I'm stressing, I can feel my shoulders that are very tight. So when I do yoga, there's certain poses I'm struggling because I know that all the stress is here.
That, absolutely. The next one is living in story. And living in story is, I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday in a coaching session. And it's like we create this story. So we meet up with, maybe it's a family member. Christmas is coming up. We meet up with a family member. And as we met up with them, we're already going into story about what we think, about what they feel about us, and about last year. And we create the story, which isn't the truth, right? The truth is not the story. The truth is they're there, you're there, and it's a fresh day, or whatever. So just being mindful of not living in story.
Yeah, I think as females, we tend to do it a lot, right? We tell ourselves a nice story that we want to hear. And that's how
No,
we hear the truth and everything.
no, I think guys do it just as much, but they just do it in a way of like, kind of keeping score almost. Oh, I know so and so. I know I don't get on with my dad, or I know I don't get on with my mom. So when I get there, I know there's going to be issues. Last time there were issues, that kind of a story, you know?
Could be. I would love to hear from those of you watching us, like, what actually helps you to reduce the stress levels. And we're going to move to the next step.
So the next one is your brain naturally. So this was a talk that I listened to last week where the person doing the talk, a medical person, was saying that the brain naturally lives in a space of negativity. So we are naturally, because we are living in survival, because we are, I suppose, kind of animals in a way, and because we're living in that survival mode, we naturally live in a negative space. So we have to work to
Hmm.
not go into that space. So that's why very often people will see something as, I'm just trying to think of an example. I mean, even with an SCOM example, or with, they will live into that space of being more negative, as opposed to being positive takes more work. It's not as natural. To
Yes.
be positive is like, okay, you have a little chat to yourself. Today's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Okay, we don't have electricity. Not a problem. But it's work. It's not a natural.
You know what? And I think that's why people struggle with people like me that are very optimist and positive most of the time. Because, we actually, like, now there's actually a logic to it. Because you're saying as a human being, like, because that's how we were built up, that we were in survival mode the entire time. And I think that's what you also see what people do with their business as well. Constantly, it's like we don't know how to stop, think, and look at the positive stuff and be patient and grow slowly. We actually
Absolutely.
kind of go, so, oh, that was actually a nice conclusion for myself today. So thanks.
Absolutely. The next is to learn from the past and to plan for the future, but not to live in either. Now, that is so easy to say, not so easy to do. Because, I don't know about you, but I wake up in the morning and I'll be thinking, okay, what have I got to do today? Da, 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 da. Oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I remember last time. So continuously living in the future and living in the past, it's so seldom that you're to be completely present and being in that space. It's not an easy thing to do.
It's not, but I can say it is something that I'm constantly working on, and I can see the improvement. But not only like on the like on the mental side, it's like it's easier. You learn to live day by day, and your life become easier. So I do recommend to learn actually how to just take what you need to take from the past, like your key learnings, and just live the moment and try to be stress free as much as you can.
And if you do find yourself kind of drifting off and not being present, that's when
You
meditation
always
is good. I think from a, meditation is one of those things that you can't say how long it's going to take before you feel the effects. It's not like, it's not like a eating plan or an exercise thing. It's not like, oh my gosh, I've been meditating. Okay, now I'm very present. Like it's a lifelong journey, but I really think it helps us to become more mindful and
look,
be.
and for some it's meditation. For me, for example, it's yoga. Even just to lie on the couch and watch TV, do a walk on the beach, or even in the gym, whatever it does, find a way to shift and drift your mind in a different direction from that part that you putting the stress on. Because if there's something I learned is that when you're stressing, you're basically blocking yourself. You're blocking yourself from energy level, from the universe, from everything. Then you cannot even see the solution, which is right there. But you are so focused on the stress and the fear that you don't see anything out of that. That goes to the other point you were saying, like us telling a story. That's exactly, so we're telling a story and we're not even capable of seeing the truth, which is
Yeah,
there. And it's super simple. But the
yeah.
moment we're learning to let go, and meditation, yoga, walks, doing art, playing, watching, whatever, that can really help you to stop. And then the solution will just going to come.
Absolutely. The next one is about intention, and I think intention is everything. So when you pick up the phone to somebody or you send somebody an email, and I'm not and I'm assuming now this is one where maybe you're a bit stressed or you're needing validation or you're needing some kind of, something that you're needing from the other person to be mindful of that. I don't mean, if you're just randomly sending somebody an email or whatever, but if there's some kind of issue within that, like when you do something, what is your intention when you send that email or you make that phone call? Like when you address that person, what is your intention in what you're doing and saying to that other person?
And I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think about the different examples we give you here, like the option? Which one are you using? Which one not? What are your takeaways from this? And we're gonna get to the next one.
And lastly, it's about being conscious, to be present and not to being attached who you want to be, but actually being present to where you are. And I think a huge thing that I learned from the converge that I was at was about, there's such, and you and I talk about this, but there's such beauty in imperfection. None of us are trying to be perfect. We're just trying to do the best we can. And part of that is mistakes all along the way. Yesterday I sent out my newsletter. As I sent out my newsletter, my website crashed. As my website crashed, I thought, oh my gosh, now what? If people go. So, and then I thought, you know what? It is what it is. There's only so much I can do within my control. And I've just kind of got to work with that. And certain things are not within my control. So I've been trying to sort that out. But the point is, it's not about being perfect. Just be the best you can.
And I think that's the thing, you need to be conscious that, I always say the formula of event plus reaction equal to the outcomes. Those events were always going to happen. So
Yeah.
it's up to you how the final outcome are going to be, because you decide how to react and if you are going to be stressed about this or not, and which direction you're going to take it. But be aware to the situation and just learn to let it go. Let it go. And there's something I always tell myself: trust the process.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. So for the rest of the week and for the weekend, just have a stress-free,
yes.
fantastic next few days and weekend. And yeah, just manage your stress.
Yes. And we'll see you next week, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.